Hi, and welcome to the Quilting Life podcast with Sherri and Chelsi.
Yes, I'm Sherri McConnell of A Quilting Life.
And I'm Chelsi Stratton of Chelsi Stratton Designs, and we are happy to be here with you today. This episode is for Monday, October 19th, so we are filming this just a few days early.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go into our regular features. Today's quilt on the wall is my Plaza quilt. It's a house quilt pattern, and it is kind of cool because it has different levels. So there's two different house blocks in it. And the reason that I'm showing the quilts that I'll be talking about today are because Balboa has truly shipped, you guys. It has finally shipped.
The yardage for sure.
The yardage.
I don't know about pre-cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yardage is shipping.
I can't even tell you how ecstatic we are. So
Yes.
I was like, I have to hang my Balboa quilts.
Yes, that was a great idea.
Yeah. So this one's, it measures 64 by 77. It's actually a fat quarter and fat eighth friendly quilt. So that's kind of cool about it. Just a lot of fun to make. Also one of my favorite things, and Billy and I did a video kind of showcasing this quilt that is already on Mom's YouTube channel. But this is one of my favorite prints from Balboa, and I used this as kind of a low volume background in it. That was a lot of fun. That's a cool print.
I love that print. I used it for
so good.
sashings in several quilts and projects.
Yeah, it just adds that like texture that you need to the quilt.
Yes,
so,
absolutely love it.
and then obviously like our tone on tone gives a lot of space. You'll notice that I do a lot of sashings that, are using the tone on tone to add some space to your blocks. But also the quilt on the table is called Sparkling. It is a star quilt, so if you love star quilts, you might want to check this one out. It's 63 by 75 and fat eighth friendly. So these are my two quilts today, both in Balboa, and I used that same background for the entire quilt, that low volume.
Yeah, I just
print.
love it.
I love it. It's so much fun. So guys, it actually shipped, so you can sew with Balboa.
Yeah, we're so excited.
Yeah, we are really excited, with it's out of, it's not really in anyone's control with the shipping of things right now. So we've been super grateful for everyone, how patient you have been and just kind. Everyone has been so kind, like understanding. So
yeah, thank you.
We appreciate that.
Okay, so I have two new finds today. Well, actually three, but two of them came together. So the first one is the Socialite pattern binder, which I love. Chelsi and I are both Socialite designers for that sew along, which is going on right now. There's a new free block every Friday. And my week is actually coming up. Well, Friday will be my first block. So,
fun.
But I love this binder. I'm super excited to put the patterns in. And I actually need to my block is already done, but I need to make 1 through 4 and then I'll be caught up. I've been working on a really big project that I'm almost done with. So I have a little excuse. But
you do, guys. She really does.
It was a really big project. So, and also Fat Quarter Shop sent along this little Socialite key fob chain. It's so cute. I love it. And so you can find both of these on the website. And I feel like even if you're not sewing along with the Socialite's sew along, this is just a great binder to put patterns in. So
yeah, I think mine got here today. And so I'm so excited to go to the post office in the morning and get mine. I know mine's coming. So I love the binder idea.
Yeah, great
for
idea.
Printing things out and putting them in there. It keeps it organized, and 3-ring is great because you can just quickly flip through. And
and then the other new thing is I got another pin cushion.
You shouldn't have.
So Terry, she had extra fabrics from when, and she said, if you send me just a little bit more, I can do one more.
I noticed mixed Balboa and Happy Days.
Yes, so I did. So I mixed Balboa and Happy Days. I've been wanting to do that for so long, and I just love it. And this is her sassy pin cushion. And I just absolutely love it. I'm so excited. You can't have too many pin cushions.
She's obsessed, you guys.
So thank you to Terry for that.
She does such a great job.
Curry Bungalow. Yeah. So, okay. And I think That's everything for beginning, right? We're going to go into listener questions. This first one, actually, we talked about this. Somebody asked it earlier about if we had favorite quilting blogs. And I feel like that even that same day when I was typing up the show notes, I started thinking, oh, why didn't I mention this? Or why didn't I mention that? Or why didn't I mention this? And I really felt like I hadn't given a great answer. And then I got another question. And so she was really specific. She said, I wonder if you have a list of the best quilting blogs you follow, top 10. So I was like, oh, perfect. This gives me the chance to, to kind of revisit my answer from last time. And then also another questioner asked about favorite Instagram accounts. So I'm going to give you my top 10 blogs, and Chelsi's going to give us her top 10 Instagram accounts. And the interesting thing was both questioners actually also said not necessarily quilting. So you're going to get a little bit of everything from us.
A little bit of everything today.
So, okay. So I actually wrote it down this time so I wouldn't forget. And I really tried to
I'm glad you wrote it down.
Right. I tried to be more intentional about this. So the one that I mentioned last time was Diary of a Quilter, Amy Smart. Absolutely love her blog. And I've been reading it since, I can't remember. She either started right before me or I started right before her, but somewhere around 2007, 2008. Been reading that one for a long time. Moda Lisa, mentioned her before too. Lisa Alexander's blog. Primitive Gatherings, Lisa Bonjean actually has a great blog. She's super busy like everyone in the world. And so she doesn't blog all the time, but when she does, it's good. And so I always like to see her posts pop up in my feed. Joanna Figueroa, Fresh Figs, she blogs really regularly. And she also has blogged very regularly since back in the day, 2007, 2008. So, and then, I probably could list, there's a lot of moda designers that just blog when they have a blockheads block or something. Corey Yoder will blog occasionally. So really all the moda designers, when they blog, I love their blogs too. Okay. We All Sew is kind of a sewing and quilting blog. And so they will have not just quilting projects, but sewing projects and sometimes informational things about sewing machines or tools. So I've been reading that blog for a long time and really like it. Next one is Polka Dot Chair by Melissa Mortensen. And I know Melissa, she's a Riley Blake fabric designer, and she kind of goes into all different areas too. She does quilts and quilting, but she also does a lot of projects with the Cricut machines.
Oh, cool.
And just sewing projects, and she has fun roundup posts. And I've been reading her blog for a long time as well. And then I'm going to mention Jolly Jabber too, because I feel like that's one of the first blogs I read as well. And Fat Quarter Shop, they've been blogging since
for years,
forever. So they have a great blog, lots of great resources on their blog. So the next one is called Nesting with Grace. And she's a mom of 3. And I believe she's originally from Utah, but she's living in Connecticut. And she had a small house, like 1,200 square feet for her family of 5. And she just has great decor tips and great ideas on how to use your space and how to organize. She does clothing. She does recipes. Her husband figures pretty prominently in her blogging and Instagram. In fact, he just quit his job to work with her. And they've added on to their house. So you can, really, she's always positive, very positive. I've enjoyed reading her blog for a few years. The next one is Erin from the Sunny Side Up blog. Love her so much. She's in San Diego. She's been blogging for quite a long time as well. And she also does kind of, the mom things. She also has 3 children. I think the girls are both in high school and her son's in elementary or middle school. But she does organization. She does decor. She does simple recipes. She'll tell you she doesn't like to cook, but she comes up with some really fun recipes. And she does clothing. She's just always positive, super positive. The next one is Studio McGee, and that is a home architectural decor blog. Shay McGee and her husband have built a really successful business. I believe they started out in Southern California and they're in Utah now. So great blog. They share lots of decor, paint, products, makeovers, and they have a Netflix show which begins tomorrow, I believe. So if you're listening to this, I believe it started Friday.
What?
But yes, so they're going to be on Netflix too.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that's 10. And then I won't even go into the food blogs, but I love food blogs too. I always find recipes that I think I'm going to make, and I make maybe half of them, but there's food blogs are just a rabbit hole. So that's my list.
Okay. So, and I love so many of those, like so many of those. We have a lot of the same, but not as far as like Instagram account. Okay. I love all these people. Right. That's what was hard for me is like, so the first thing I want to add one blog because I didn't find Bev's blog, Flamingo Toes.
Oh yeah, until I should have mentioned Bev too.
After we started to do the first snowflake jelly, the quilt alongs for Fat Quarter Shop for the Christmas in July. Yeah, and I was really, really happy that I found her blog. I mean, I have obviously knew who she was, but I had never read her blog, and it's just her, choices of fabric and everything. They're so bright and just like cheerful. And so I added that one to it.
That's great.
So as far as Instagram accounts, I kind of went with the not necessarily quilting ones.
That's good though.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Because I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Oh, good. Because I knew that you would be, when I saw this, I was like, oh, like obviously she's picked a lot of my favorite designers. I love so many designers, so I could list them all as far as Instagram accounts.
Right.
And actually, it made me curious about something, and this is something you can do. So a few months ago, I actually went through all of the accounts I was following, and I kind of like purged, and not in a bad way. I just went through and was like, well, what accounts am I really invested in, and which ones lift me up, and which ones really like make me smile? Because, when you have a feed filled with content, like it should make you happy. It should make you feel like you're invited, and just happy to be there. So I went through, and Instagram has this cool thing called Most Shown in Feed, and kind of you can look in there and kind of see what is mostly popping up in your feed.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I'll have to show you. Wow.
So, and it's honestly a lot of the things that you view the most. So they keep track of it, and then there's least interacted with.
That's so interesting.
It's super interesting. Yeah.
Please, everyone, I'm sorry. I haven't been on Instagram in weeks.
She's so good.
My project that I've been working on, but I will get back. I will get back to it.
Don't go back, Mom. Don't go back. A break from Instagram is a good thing sometimes.
Oh, I've just gotten on and posted the things I have to and gotten right back off. So.
Actually, I will go ahead and say taking a break from Instagram is healthy to do every once in a while. Even if it's a 24-hour Instagram fast, like just put the phone away for a minute, and sometimes that's just like all you need. Okay, so let's actually go into accounts now.
So first I have to write down that I have to look that up. Most shown.
So a lot of these are not necessarily quilting. Okay. So I'm just going to go into it. A lot of the things I follow besides Quilter, a lot of the accounts I follow, home design is a big one. Those feeds always make me super happy. And then obviously I have some quilting and maybe new designers that I'm super, super into that are not maybe my style or my go-to style. And just a lot of like health things. So the first one is actually a new, actually I'm going to name that one after. So I love Home Bunch. And they just give you tours of different houses on this account. And fun. So a lot of accounts are just one style of home. Like I'll follow some builders that they do contemporary styles. Like that's all they do. Or, but this is like giving you cute kind of like a virtual home tour of different styles of houses. So I like that one. Shiplap Addict. Have you followed her?
No.
She's wonderful. Lots of shiplap, guys. I'm sorry, there's going to be a lot of home accounts on here.
That's okay.
Society Social, just because her account is so like bright and cheery, and like the colors are just super, super happy. And I love that for my girls. Like,
is that a home account too?
yes, she's a mother. I believe she's out of New York. I might be wrong, you guys.
Okay.
I'm like totally mixed up, but just a really cute, happy feed. This is a quilting one, Ziriano. I'm sure you all know
Love her.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Like,
She's incredible.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
I am obsessed. Every little bag she makes that's perfectly quilted.
They're so beautiful.
Oh, her feed is just inspiring.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know,
Love
I'm
her.
super in love with her. Texas Forever Farmhouse. I'm sorry, you guys. Lots of home accounts. She has a lot of she mixes a modern and farmhouse feel. So I really like that look. And honestly, I just sometimes want to move where she lives because it's just open and trees and
Texas is so beautiful.
it's so pretty.
I
so
feel like
pretty.
I've been in enough parts of the state now that I
Yeah.
can tell them apart. And I just, it's been so long since we
It's
traveled.
cool, guys. I know. Well, we miss our market friends. We would be
Yes.
essentially traveling this week,
To
right?
market would be coming up in like 10 days or something.
It's kind of bittersweet for us because obviously we know like travel restrictions, those are important, but
Yes.
we miss our Moda family.
Right.
So, okay, guys, I promise just one more home one. Okay. Mill Haven Homes. And this is the home I was talking about earlier. Very, soft wood colors, not warm, just super like cool toned, contemporary, like just clean. Guys, I don't know why, but lately I'm like dreaming of building a house. So I don't know what's happening. So a lot of home ones, I'm sorry. Okay. So as far as like health and I love quotes. I'm a quote person. I used to I still do. I'm a big reader. And so I follow Chopra, you guys. Just super.
How do you spell that?
Chopra.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's super like just like kind of quotes that have you like look inward. And like right now I'm just like, yay, I needed just like a happy little quote for today. And along those lines, Morgan Harper Nichols, I repost a lot of her stuff. She just like has this gift. She writes and it's good for my soul, people. It's good for my soul. Just quotes, lots of quotes.
Awesome.
Another one I follow is Replica Surfaces, and I know you have some of their products.
Yeah.
The reason I'm sharing that is because lately, I take all of our product photos at home. Like I'm not using like, crazy professional equipment, and they actually have a blog and they give you a ton of tips on taking pictures of your photography, whether you're using natural light or you're using studio lights. They give really great tips where say you're a shop owner or you're a business owner and you need to, take a picture. There's certain times of the day and certain type of lighting that can help, with your product photos. And just having an Instagram feed, I like my feed to stay in sync with each other. And so they give good tips about that. Plus they have great products if you're taking photos.
Yeah, I just have to insert something there. That's been one of my favorite things about our new house was that in our old house, the entire back of the house was covered by a patio. So you could never get good lighting on that side of the house. So you only had a short window during the day in the front of the house in those rooms where you could get good lighting for photography. But in our new house, we don't have that. So I love that no matter what time of day it is, I can either go on the back of the house and take pictures or the front of the house and take pictures and get good lighting. So
exactly.
Yeah. So
I know I love this house. I love taking pictures, especially in your front room with the piano.
Yeah.
In this other Instagram account, she's actually a new moda designer, and I just found her today.
Oh.
It's Allie K Design, and
Allie.
yeah, Allik
Okay.
Design.
Okay.
What I love about her is her style is like completely different from what we design. So striking. She does murals. Like she's done murals on the front of the Container Store. She has done some books, and just I like her modern, super, super modern feel. She has a new fabric line that just debuted. But I really loved that about her. I thought that was cool. So I thought that was like an interesting new find. Okay, so the last Instagram account I want to share is Erin Lochner, and she owns Other Goose, I believe is what it's called. And I had been kind of going back and forth on the decision to homeschool my kids, especially, running a business and just all these different things. And my mom knew that was kind of something I was struggling with. And so she sent me actually 2 different articles, and I read them both. She's like, read both of these because they're different points of view, and kind of like read them over and see how you feel. And I really, after reading this one, was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to homeschool my kids. And her account is super inspiring. And, it's just tips like moms with littles, and just, I get like weekly blog posts, weekly emails from her. They're super helpful, and I'm doing it, guys. I'm homeschooling, so it's going. But yeah, so thank you for introducing.
I feel like I should have listed her blog.
Yeah.
So, and I've met her in person.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you told me this.
Yeah. So about a year ago, my husband and my son and I went to a blogging conference in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I was so excited to go to that conference was I was going to be able to take a class from her. And I've read her book, Chasing Slow. And some of you might know her from her HGTV days. She did a television show. But her book just really spoke to me. And she is the sweetest person. She's a little petite woman and so soft spoken, but so wise. Really, the class was excellent. And so I should have probably mentioned her blog too. Yeah.
It's so nice when you meet someone that you're like, oh, I can't wait to meet them. And they're actually like a nice person.
And they're actually exactly like you think they're going to be.
Yeah.
So
her feed is like super helpful. And just because it's been totally different change for me these days. But so hopefully some of those are some accounts that you like. And obviously, like I said before, if I could list all the many, many quilting accounts, that inspire me, especially like my mom, she has so many things on her blog that are wonderful. And Joanna Figueroa, I'm glad you mentioned her blog because she just has the cutest, like she just had a blog post today and like cute pumpkins and projects. And so
I used to love Camille Ross Kelly's blog.
I wish you would blog
I wish
more.
she would still blog because hers was just, she has a way with words and with photography, and I loved her blog. And I know it's very time consuming to blog because it is, but, she's got 3 kids right in the busiest stage of life. But I loved her blog too.
You actually sent me to her blog because they renovated their home, and she detailed everything, which was super cool. And she will occasionally blog post about new fabric and stuff, like we talked about designers, and she just has the prettiest photography and such a beautiful home and a beautiful family. So I mean, I love following her on Instagram too.
Yeah, this was super fun for me because I have all these notes on my page. I can go.
But I should have I feel like I should have done all my top quilting ones too. But I love them all, guys.
This was good.
Love them all.
This is good. The next that took quite a while.
That took a long time.
We have a question on how do you incorporate modern artistic fabrics and quilts with traditional decor? And so, I have just a quick thought and then turn it over to Chelsi. But I had a really modern quilt in our other house that didn't really go with any of my decor. But what I did was I stuck it on a wall in a hallway, and it was fine. And I could look at it whenever I walked down that hallway, and it was really modern and it was really fun and it really inspired me, but yet it didn't really mix So there's an option right there. And I'm
Can
sure.
I guess which quilt it was?
Yeah.
The Denise Schmidt one.
Well, the Amy Butler one.
Oh, the Amy Butler. Yes. On the hallway to my old bedroom.
So
Right? Am I right?
Actually, in the hallway on the way to the kitchen, but that's okay.
Guy.
I know. You know what? I used to have it when you were at home. I had it in that hallway.
Okay. See, I'm right.
See, so
okay.
we're both good.
I'm
okay.
like, am I losing my memory?
Yeah,
like,
no, it was in that hallway first. Yeah, I had that always on the wall somewhere.
You did.
Just
always.
because I wanted that modern, little bit of modern.
Yeah.
So
it's a pretty quilt.
So
it's really pretty.
Okay.
I just want to say a little bit about it. I feel like I have a really good mix of modern and traditional in my home. They really work if you want to showcase something, or if you just want to subtly hang that quilt over the couch or in a basket, like, so
Yeah.
I don't know, hang it on a ladder.
Yeah.
But hanging on a wall is a really good one. I just don't have a lot of wall space in my home, so I kind of stopped hanging quilts up.
Right. Yeah. Or on a table that's kind of a little out of the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or even folded up on a couch.
Or on your kids' beds. Like, I tend to go more modern, and it just depends. Like, my little boy's room, definitely more modern. So.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some good ideas there. Okay. Next question. Do we need to stop or?
No.
Oh, I already did it.
Oh, you already did it. Okay.
I have a lot of kits. Would you suggest an organization goal of its own? I was thinking of starting with a keep, donate, and finish sort, maybe even turning some of them into scraps.
Yeah. So this
Mom
is
going to have great tips on this.
Well, I thought this is a great question. And then I thought she kind of gave a lot of good ideas along with her question.
Yeah, she's got it. She's got it down.
Yeah, I feel like if you feel like you're drowning in kits, then that's a great way, keep, donate, and finish. I actually have a few kits stored away in a closet that I really do want to get to someday. So I'm keeping them for now. And I feel like once I start something, I usually finish it. I don't have any kits that I've started and not finished, but I do have 2 or 3 in the closet. I think that's a great idea. And I love her idea also of turning some of them into scraps. If you no longer want to make the project, tear it apart, take the fabric out and
organize
it by color or print. And that's a great idea.
And use it for other projects, incorporate it,
Right. And then I also feel like it's great to have a list of the kits that you have that might be stored somewhere so that you don't forget. And you could put that in a notebook or in the Quilting Life Planner if you have that. You could keep a list. So I love that. I feel like if you keep them all stored in one place, also that would be a helpful tip.
Yeah,
so
then
that
you
they're
know
not
where they all are.
All different places. So you can go and see what you have. And I feel like a drawer or a closet shelf is a great solution for that.
Yeah, I have one and it's in my closet and I'm going to make it someday. It's the Santa kit with hollies. Yeah, and I've had it forever and I'm like, I'm going to make that this year and I just never get around to it.
I love that quilt. I was at a retreat a couple summers ago when that just came out and I think there were 3 or 4 women at the retreat making that quilt.
Are you serious?
And I was sitting there.
It makes you want to make it.
Thinking, why didn't I buy this kit?
Yeah.
And because they were all making it at the retreat and they all got them done. And they had them hanging on the wall in the room.
Oh my goodness.
I was just in kit envy there.
I mean, I even have so much of that fabric line left.
I do too.
A whole fat quarter bundle of it just waiting to mix into projects.
Yeah, I have some of that fabric.
I love her fabrics. And actually, I texted Mom today because Holly in the new Moda catalog has a new Halloween line that's super vintagey and cute.
Really cute.
I need it.
And I'm not always big on Halloween, but I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I'm not either. Even with colors that stray away from oranges, creams, blacks, grays. This had totally opposite of what I normally go for, and I was just like, sometimes you guys, you look at a fabric line and you have to have it,
and you just have to have it. Yeah.
That's how I felt with this one. Love at first sight.
Yeah. So we have just a couple more questions. This this one, it just really spoke to me. I've thought about this before.
I love this question.
Yeah, she said, over the years, I have made quilts as gifts for people. Some people understand the value of a handmade quilt while others do not. Have you ever had a conversation with a quilt recipient to help them understand the value of the quilt? Have you just let it go? Any thoughts? And this is such a good question because I remember as a new quilter, I made a lot of baby quilts for friends and I put a lot of work into them, and it really did not really seem like they were always appreciated.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And I remember that. But over time, I started realizing, no, I made that baby quilt because I wanted to make that baby quilt. It doesn't matter if they know how many hours I spent.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's going to be used and it's going to be loved.
Yeah.
So I've never had a conversation with anybody. And another thing I thought about with this was too, one time I gave somebody a quilt that I didn't really know very well. And I don't know why, I just felt like I should give her this quilt. And then she said thank you and everything, but she never really, I don't know. I was kind of a little bit bothered. Like I kind of felt, I don't know if she appreciates it. Well, anyway, it was 3 to 4 months later when I got a card in the mail from her.
Oh.
And she told me how she had been going through a terrible time and how important the quilt was to her and how she had cried herself to sleep many nights with that quilt and how the quilt gave her comfort. And
Oh my goodness.
I just felt like mad at myself kind of for even questioning. And I feel like that was a blessing to me that she wrote me that note, but I feel like there might be other people that have that same experience, but they don't let you know. So you just never know. So I feel like you can't worry.
Yeah.
Because you never know how much somebody might appreciate it. And
I agree with that 100%.
You do it out of love because you love it.
Because you love it.
Right.
And that's part of the joy of gifting a quilt,
right.
I feel like, is, regardless of what the outcome is or how they feel,
right.
you really did have an intention of making that person a quilt.
Right.
But that is so sweet. Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was months later. So
something I do though is there was Camille Ross Kelly's second book, the one with the original vintage pattern in it. She talks about in that book about she sends a card and it just talks about caring for the quilt. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and because we use the color catchers,
right?
And I think I'll have to go back and reread it, but I think at the end it's just use it, love it, And I thought that was a really cute thing that she did when she's gifting a quilt. So,
to give a little care instruction.
Yeah, put a little care instruction with the quilt. Yeah,
that's a great idea. In fact, I remember my son, Billy, who's sitting right here, one of the quilts I gave him when he washed it the first time he called. And he was like, how do I wash this, Mom? And I remember telling him to put the color catchers in with it. So, that's a great idea. If you do that, if you give a little informational card, then you can let it go and you can know that they know that maybe it should be cared for in a certain way. So
a friend actually just sent me a picture a couple weeks ago. I had made her 2 daughters quilts last summer, and they make their beds every day, and they have the quilts on their beds. And the reason I bring that up now is because I had actually gifted her a whole box of color catchers because I had used really, really deep reds mixed with lighter blues. And I've never had a quilt bleed, but I just didn't want to take the chance, with younger kids, so. Yeah.
Great.
Luckily never had a bleed issue and she's never told me about one. So
that's great.
Yeah. So
next question says, I am wondering how you approach piecing and quilting before you start a quilt. And does that help you get the whole quilt done faster? And she actually had another question. Do you always send off to a long arm quilter? I'm going to answer the second part first because that's quick and easy.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, yes, I send it off to a long arm quilter.
Me, 10 times out of 10.
Only if it's small do I
Yeah.
think about doing straight line quilting myself.
Yeah.
That's generally what I do if I quilt it myself, is straight line quilting on a pillow or a small table runner.
Yeah.
So that one was easy. Okay. The other one.
I'm actually going to go ahead and answer this really quick. So obviously, like when you're approaching a project, I think I talked about this a few episodes ago. Just, I have like a box of like patterns that I am like, the second I have a chance, those are the ones I'm going to go through to make one. But I feel like as far as approaching it, everything's in stages for me, especially with younger kids.
Right.
I don't cut out a project and sew the same day ever. I always cut out an entire project. Sometimes I'll cut out 2 projects. And then the next day I get to wake up and just start piecing. I feel like that's kind of my approach to everything. Maybe that's not exactly the answer that
No, I think that's
looking
great.
for, but
whatever works for you.
yeah, whatever
works.
works for you. So
Right.
that helps me though, because cutting takes quite a bit of time, especially if you're cutting out a quilt that has a lot of different pieces. Then my head is kind of clear the next day, and getting to sew is like the most enjoyable part for me. So just yesterday, I got to sew all day after homeschool, and I was so happy, like stress-free, just sewing. It was really, really nice. So
That's true. I really like what you said. It really does clear your head if the project's all cut out.
yeah,
And then you can just sew. That's so true. I feel like sometimes I do have to cut out and start sewing on the same day because I'm in such a hurry. But it really is a blessing if you can just have it cut out and then just go into it and start fresh.
yeah.
That's true. I like doing that.
It was really quick. It was really fun when we went to that retreat together last April, because I was helping my mom sew quilts for a book, and everything was like ready to go. So I got to experience the full quilting retreat experience, and I just got to sew all day with like a group of all these amazing women. And that's kind of like how I like my process. I like to just wake up and sew, you guys. So
Yeah. I miss quilt retreats too.
me too. We miss them.
But yeah, that's a great idea. And when I'm sewing, if it's a pattern that I wrote, I do take notes while I'm working in case I need to adjust something, and I keep everything in a folder. So all of the Happy Days quilts, all my notes are in one manila folder, and all the Balboa quilts are in another. And this project I just did has its own folder. And so I do feel like that's really important to kind of keep notes.
Yeah, definitely.
So
definitely.
yeah. Okay. Last question, and
Yeah.
we'll be done for this episode. So this one says, aside from obvious statements included in a pattern that say, for personal use only, can you discuss making and selling quilts? For instance, no one owns the copyright to a 9-patch or churn dash block. So this is really interesting. I have purchased patterns before that say you may make up to 10 items from this pattern and sell them. Other than that, you need permission from the author. So, yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen that several times.
I've never seen that.
I feel like when a pattern says for personal use only, that means that they don't want you to reproduce the pattern.
Yes.
And copy it.
Copy
and
the
give it
pattern
to someone else
and distribute it.
That way. I feel like if you make a quilt from a pattern, you're probably safe to sell it.
Yeah.
I think, unless there is something specific in the pattern that asks you not to, I think you can. And I've had people email me and ask about this, and I always tell them, sure, go ahead. I mean, it would be different if they were making 500 of your quilt and selling them to Pottery Barn to sell, then that would be a different thing.
Yeah.
But just to sell them in a very small way, I feel like. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, when I was reading that question, obviously, writing patterns is a really personal, it's a whole process, and so much work goes into it. And so that's why, you'll notice on the patterns, just, you're not distributing, don't buy
Right.
it to distribute it and,
Right.
Copy the pattern, So,
Right.
there's a lot of, that's our work and we're really, really proud of it. And,
Yeah.
but I understand like the 9-patch thing or term,
Right.
nobody owns,
Right.
a simple block. Like you
Right.
don't own that. But, a lot of people, that's why you try to make, like when I'm writing a pattern, I try to make it super creative and something different. And,
Right.
That way I'm writing specifically for a
Right.
specific
your
layout of a
interpretation.
pattern, for my interpretation of a
Right.
pattern. And so,
Yeah.
that was an interesting question.
Yeah, it was a good question. And I feel like she really is mostly talking about selling quilts made from a
Yes.
pattern. And
Yeah.
So, and on a small level. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
So,
right.
okay. So that kind of takes us through today's episode. And our next episode is going to be on Monday, November 2nd.
November 2nd.
And it's going to be a special episode. We
Yeah.
are going to talk about tips. And so a whole
Yeah.
episode
Just
full
on
of tips. Yes.
Yay.
So we really appreciate you listening if you are listening on a podcast platform. And also we appreciate you watching if you're here on the YouTube channel.
YouTube. And thanks so much for stopping by.